Epictetus once said, "How long are you going to wait before you demand the best for yourself?" If you feel like you've been in the same position for many years now, you don't seem to be progressing in life, you keep falling to the same bad habits, and you don't know what to do anymore, pay attention to this video because I'm going to share with you a Stoic exercise that's going to change all of that. Now, Seneca once wrote, "I make use of this opportunity, daily pleading my case at my own court. When the light has been taken away and my wife has fallen silent, aware as she is of my habit, I examine my entire day, going through what I have done and said. I conceal nothing from myself. I pass nothing by. I have nothing to fear from my errors when I can say, see that you do not do this anymore. For the moment, I excuse you." What Seneca is talking about there is called an evening reflection. It's basically an exercise where you reflect on your day and what you did and how you did it. But to provide a little bit of context into why the evening reflection is so powerful, you need to know something. The other day, I was talking to my girlfriend about a particular book, and it occurred to me that I've actually read this book. You see, I've read hundreds of books, and this particular book, I just couldn't remember. I couldn't remember what the main argument was. I couldn't remember any of the chapters or what the point of the book was. So this got me thinking, what is the point of reading all these books if we don't remember most of it? You see, the human mind is incredibly bad at remembering things. Our memory is definitely something that's not accurate or can actually be relied on. You see, memory is more of an evolutionary thing. We remember things that help us live. So the brain sometimes forgets subtle things that might actually be important. You know, it remembers not to put its hand in the fire because the last time you did that, you got yourself burnt. It remembers probably not to eat too much McDonald's because you got sick, but it doesn't remember subtle cues or triggers that you perhaps fall into for a bad habit or an insightful piece of information from a particular book that you read a couple years ago. So our memory is flawed. This is why it's so important to write down things so that you remember it. So I took the habit of actually writing down my notes of the books I read and reflecting on them periodically. Ryan Holiday, I believe, does something similar to this when he writes his books. What does this have to do with the evening routine? If taking notes on books allows us to understand them better and gain more knowledge and reflect on them, why do we not take notes on our lives? Isn't our life like the most important book that we have to go through? Every single day is a page. Every single day has something that you can learn from it. If you just go through life aimlessly and don't learn from your mistakes, no wonder you're in the same place that you were 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and you're probably going to be in the same place 4 years from now. So people that consciously want to develop their lives, that understand that they are the architects, the ones that design everything, pay attention to what happens daily, pay attention to their thoughts. And that is why we write down in an evening reflection. When we go through life through the same frame of reference, through our egos, through ourselves. So it's very easy to skew the events that happen or see them through a particular type of bias, depending on how we're feeling in the moment. But when we write down stuff, it becomes kind of as if someone else has written it, because once it's written down, it's in paper, it's concrete, it's objective, and when we progress in life, we can look back and see how far we've come. A lot of times we're hard on ourselves because we don't see the progression we make, once again, because we see the world through our lens, through our ego. It's the same thing as when someone goes to the gym. A lot of times they'll be training and they're not seeing a lot of changes and they're getting disappointed, yet a family friend who might have seen them 6 months ago will be like, "Whoa, man, you got some gains, you put on some muscle." So when we write down, we can kind of take a picture and keep a snapshot of our state of mind in that moment without any biases, because what we wrote is exactly what we were feeling. And this can be very encouraging when you go through the pages of your daily reflection and you look back and you see that you have made progress, that you are doing better, that you're no longer thinking so negatively, that you actually are more productive each day. That can be empowering and can create a feedback loop that allows you to keep going and get stronger and get better. Some questions for you to ask during your evening reflections. What did I do well today and why? Maybe you are more productive. You know, as soon as you woke up, you meditated, you did your yoga, you read, you exercised, you just did everything. Write that down. You were productive today, you killed it. Why was it? Maybe you woke up in the morning and you didn't give yourself excuses, and you got out of bed and didn't think about it. That's important information. Keep it. Also write down where you didn't do so well in the day. Maybe you got irritated at your girlfriend and you got really angry. Write that down. Why is that? Maybe you got stuck in your ego and you need to take a step back next time when you feel that happening. That's important information. Also write down just general thoughts that you had and other miscellaneous things, because you never know what pieces of information are going to be useful. Sometimes when you reflect back on your evening reflections, you're looking back at the notes in your journal and you're seeing that a particular day you had certain thoughts which led to a particular result. It gives you greater insight through awareness. It's only when we pay attention to something that we can change it. In life, a lot of us, we go through just daydreaming, not paying attention, not putting focus on what's important. Your life is exactly the result of the attention you put to it. So if you're not where you need to be, you need to put attention to that area in your life, right? And whatever you put your focus on gets noted. Pay attention to your feet right now. I bet you consciously didn't put your feet in that particular arrangement, right? Your subconscious mind did that. So you only became aware of that when I told you to pay attention to your feet, because you put focus on it. It's the same thing when we write down in our journals how we want to improve, where we went wrong. We bring awareness to those aspects of our lives, and it's a lot easier to make those necessary changes that are needed. You need to be 100% honest with yourself. Be completely objective. Don't refrain from saying anything or writing down anything. This is why it's so important that you don't allow anyone else to have access to it. Because as soon as other people are able to read it, you're going to start to change what you're actually writing down. It's not going to be 100% true. It's going to lack integrity. So make sure no one has access to it besides you. As Seneca says, treat yourself as if you are in court and you are prosecuting yourself. So you're going to be objective. You're not going to allow any biases to come through. You are a judge. You're trying to get to the bottom of it. And this is the only way you can progress. I also suggest that you write down in your journal with your actual hands. So use handwriting. Don't type things into your iPad or anything like that, because there's something different that happens between you and your brain when you write something down with your hands. I first understood this when I was at uni and I was taking notes. I remembered that I was able to recall things better when I wrote it down by hand as opposed to typing out on computer. This is the same reason why every self-improvement book out there or course, they tell you to write down your goals by hand. Something happens with the subconscious mind when we personally write down something. It's almost like we have skin in the game and it gets internalized better. Keeping a journal or a diary is not girly or feminine. A lot of people have this misconception that it's feminine because, mainstream media, the movies we watch, the TV shows we watch, generally women keep diaries or write down about their boyfriends and what they were thinking. But this is perhaps one of the most powerful tools for self-improvement because it gives you something objective to work with. It gives you something that you can see where your mindset is at, and then you can do everything that's necessary to get to over here. If you're just running through your ego, running through your eyes, through that lens, you're going to be seeing a very skewed and morphed version of reality, and it's going to be incredibly difficult to make changes, especially with the biases and heuristics that our minds have. Do the Stoic evening reflection, and I promise you, you'll be one step closer to living and dying well. Thanks for watching the video. I appreciate you. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel and click the bell notifications so we can see more of each other. Until next time.